Welcome in, everybody, and welcome back to the North Central Washington MVP series brought to you by Career Connect Washington and the Apple STEM Network. I'm your host, Carrie Horning, Career Connected Learning Specialist with the NCESD 171. So the goal today is simple: to introduce our community partners throughout North Central Washington to one another, as well as to all the amazing events and programs that are taking place here. And I think it's always important to share that a win looks like each of you leaving with a greater understanding of the work being done all around North Central Washington. So grab your lunch, sit back, and get ready for an extra dose of professional nourishment. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with both Kim Pope, Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club Columbia Basin, as well as Cecily Hendricks, Director of Operations. I want to make sure that I get that whole mouthful correct. So welcome in, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. I always appreciate what you do with these MVP meetings, and we're happy to be a participant in this.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. So, I like to kick these off. Kim, you're almost always on with me on the broadcast. So I like to kick them off with a little bit of an introduction, kind of have a little bit of fun with it. And you and I have done this before. So I just want to say, I think this is my first repeat performance with an interviewee. So we're bringing it today. But I want to share out. I always like those little fun facts. And so Kim and her husband may have, cruised on by you if you're out in the Central Washington area on their Harley, but they're in search of the best burger or bacon cheeseburger, right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's get serious about this because, I'm a foodie and I've got the place. And if we didn't talk about this last time, my mistake. 35 miles away from Moses Lake is a Wild Horse Campground. As you head down to the Gorge Amphitheater, Sage Cliff, Cave Bee Winery, Wild Horse Campground has the best burgers, and they only do it during the season, only during the summer season. So here's my little tidbit of advice for anybody listening, and especially Kim, you and your husband. After the concert starts, so there's no lineup of traffic, people from the campground are taking their buses to get into the concert. That's when you roll in. You roll in there, tell them Carrie and Greg sent you, that you got to try the Wild Horse Burger. They've got a chicken version. They always have some sort of a special, but that's the best burger in Grant County, in my opinion.
So that's funny because we've driven by there, but not during concert season.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to make that trip.
Okay, you got to make your trip, and then we'll do a third series where you come back again and we'll just talk burgers and food. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
All right. Okay. Now, Cecily, you and I, we haven't really had that much time to connect yet. I know you absolutely love those kiddos that you're serving there, but we got to do the same thing for you. Introduction. Can you tell us a fun fact about yourself?
Sure can. This is always like my go-to. I do not live in Moses Lake. I commute. And I live in the smallest town in Washington State, incorporated town, which is Marlin, Washington, which is located between Wilson Creek and Odessa off of Highway 28. It's a pretty small town.
I feel like maybe I've seen a sign for that. Is there even a sign?
The original name of the town is Krupp Marlin, but yeah, it's pretty tiny. It's off of Highway 28. When my husband and I moved to the area, we knew we wanted to buy a house with some property, and we found an old craftsman house that we've been fixing up ourselves over the years while both working full time. And it's like our little slice of heaven out there. We sit right along Crab Creek, and it's so quiet and just really nice. So we both make the drive to town, but it's definitely worth it. And
I love it.
We both sit on city council as well, so have to throw that in there.
Very nice. Wait a minute, the city council of Marlin?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we do have a city council. That's what makes us incorporated. So
that is terrific. All right, we will continue those conversations as well. So
sounds good.
However, we are here today to do the MVP, Most Valuable Partner. So are you both ready to do this? Okay. All right. Let's get into it. So, all right. I'm not sure which one wants to start, but let's start off with the basics. Tell us a little bit about the Boys and Girls Club of the Columbia Basin. What are some of the programs that you guys offer there?
Right. So I will start that we've been incorporated here since 1994. And so I'm not sure all the time that people realize how long Boys and Girls Club has been here. Started by a group of people in the community that knew Moses Lake needed an after-school program. So we're really proud of that. This last year in 2023, we served 1,152 club members across 6 locations in Moses Lake. And so 5 of those are school district buildings, school-based sites, and then 1 is our main clubhouse here. So we're really excited about that. We also served over 48,000 meals this
Wow.
last year, free summer meals in the summertime, and then meals or snacks or both at our clubhouse here and at our school-based locations. So
Very
I'm going to
good.
turn it over to Cecily to talk about
Yeah.
programs that we run, because I always like to have the expert in the house, and she is our expert on all things programmatic.
Thanks. Yeah, so we serve kids K through 12. I think that surprises a lot of people. We have our main clubhouse, our McGraw Family Clubhouse, which is where our office is located right next to Park Orchard. We get anywhere between 130 to 180 kids here every day, Monday through Friday, right after school. And then, as Kim said, we do also have some school-based sites around town where club members meet directly at that school. And we are strategically placed at schools serving more at-risk youth to just let them have a fun, safe environment to come to once they wrap up class. We run a lot of different programs through being a part of Boys and Girls Club. We are part of the Boys and Girls Club of America Network, which through that we get access to all different kinds of curriculum that our staff can take and run. We're very strategic in how we hire for our sites. We try to really find candidates and young people that have just graduated high school that are interested in maybe becoming a teacher or going into psychology someday. And they're the ones that get to plan all of the lessons with the kiddos. So through Boys and Girls Club of America, we have a lot of different programs. We have a program called My Futures, which teaches kids how to code. That was a really fun program that we got to run with some of our elementary members last year. We do Power Hour at all of our sites, which is just an hour of program time dedicated to working on homework. We also run Money Matters, which teaches kids and our members about financial literacy, stuff like what is a credit card? How do I start saving for a house someday? Stuff like that. During the summer, we run summer brain games, which keeps kids engaged academically throughout that summertime so they don't fall behind when they go back to school in the fall. And there's a couple more Healthy Habits, which teaches kids about good physical activity and how to improve your overall well-being. And another program that we've been running at all of our sites this year has been Smart Moves. So that teaches kids drug and alcohol use prevention, even at a young age. So we run a lot of different programs at all of our sites, but at the end of the day, we're all about kids coming to club, being safe, having fun, having a good snack after school. So it's a fun time.
It is fun. That's terrific. Those are some really incredible programs as well.
Can I
Thanks.
jump in super quick? I would love Cecily to talk about our AIM program at Midway for just a couple minutes, because it's one of our school-based sites and we run a special program there.
Yeah, so at our Midway Club this year, we did receive a grant, which we're really excited about, through Boys and Girls Club of Washington. And we've been running a program there every day called AIM, which stands for Academics, Innovation, and Mentorship. And so that club structure runs a little bit differently than some of our other clubs, but we really focus on tutoring those students and really trying to help them increase their grades at school. And we also have been bringing in some outside volunteers and mentors to come read with the kids, work on math homework with them. So that's been happening every week. We've also been doing a lot of STEM projects with them, a lot of different science experiments. It's been great. But what was really exciting for us was, you know, we looked and worked with the principal at the school to kind of look at where kids' grades were at the beginning of us starting this program and just a couple months in. And Kim, I don't remember the stats off the top of my head, maybe you do, but we did see quite a significant increase in grades at school with our members. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they improved their reading grade. The amount
Was,
that was like 84% that were
yeah,
above 50%.
Oh,
And
yeah,
the kids that were in club, their
yeah, that's right.
grades raised higher than the overall school.
Yeah,
So we were really excited about that. And we'll do some sign language because they're learning sign language there.
yes.
Um,
absolutely.
Yeah,
That
so
is incredible. Way to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
very excited to add that to our Midway site.
Well,
Mhm.
let's dig into that a little bit more because we have this opportunity, to once we're done with this, we share it far and wide. So, what are some of the key partnerships and collaborations that you have, and how can somebody get involved if they want to be a part of that?
Cecily, I'll let you take that over because a lot of times if people come and volunteer with our club kids, it's a little different than if they volunteer for an event.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, so you know, with our volunteers, they do have to go through a training that's required from Boys and Girls Club of America. So we have, you know, a handful of like consistent volunteers that have taken that training. But some of our partners this past year have been Washington Federal Bank has been a huge supporter. They're some of their workers have been at Midway every week for the past 6 months, which is just incredible. Really,
Is
really appreciative of them. And last year they came to all of our clubs and helped teach that Money Matters class,
right.
where they ended up giving each kiddo a piggy bank to take home so they could start
Oh,
saving. So
sweet.
they've been a
Yeah.
really strong partner with us. We also um, have just started working with Sela. They
Mhm.
reached out to us this past month and they are going to start volunteering at our club consistently as well. And then we just have a couple people in the community that just deeply care about children and just want to spend time. We have one gal, she has come every Friday since 2019 and spent 2 hours every Friday in the kindergarten room. And we
That's
just
terrific.
really appreciate her. And I think for our club members, it's really special for them to get that other time with people that aren't staff and, you know, other adults that really care about them. So those are
Yeah.
some of our partnerships.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, over the holidays, correct me if I'm wrong, did Group 14 and Jeannie play a little bit
yes.
of a role too?
Yes, they did
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, they had offered and we gladly accepted to donate a whole bunch of hygiene kits for our teen center, which was just incredible. Um, they just dropped them all off right before the holidays. We brought a lot of those products back to the teen center and they were gone instantly. So just yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
outside of like our normal recurring volunteers, we always have local donors and people in the community that deeply care about the kids, and we just always appreciate those partnerships.
Yeah.
Um,
That's one
yeah,
I was able to kind of jump in on and put out the request. And I always love it, especially of course, around the holiday season. But they did jump in. All the businesses
oh
jumped in.
yeah,
I was over here. I don't live in Moses Lake either. So they were able to, yeah, I couldn't facilitate the pickups and the drop off. So
yeah.
I know a lot of them went the extra mile. So
Yeah,
that's
they
cool to
did
hear.
so great and like donated such nice products to a lot of our teens would never get to have. And
Yeah.
it was gone so fast. We really
Yeah.
appreciated that. We
Well,
also
let me
had,
let me
uh,
sneak in though and
oh
say
yeah, yeah, yeah.
those things are they don't last forever, right? So we're already 4 months past Christmas.
Mhm.
Anybody who's donated in the past and wants to donate more of the personal hygiene items, native brand
Yeah.
deodorant, razors, toothpaste, toothbrushes, whatever, it might be a good time to refill the drawers, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Our
good.
teens need that so badly. Yeah, so we have a lot of different like community partners that are always bringing us items, even if they can't like take that training and come every week. Like so many great community partnerships out there as well. Hayden Homes just donated like a giant carpet ball for our game room that the kids have loved.
Nice.
So yeah, we could not be here without the support of the community for
Yeah.
sure.
Good. Well, hopefully this will help it afterwards, but let's move on
Yeah.
to some more questions too. Obviously, it's amazing the amount of programs that you have. I think, lucky kiddos who get to be involved in this. So I'm going to bounce around a little bit. I know we kind of, created a little bit of a structure, but I want to bounce around because we're talking about these programs. We're talking about some amazing educational opportunities. If a parent or a grandparent or a guardian or a teacher wants to get some students involved, how do they do that?
Are you talking about bringing students here to our
Mhm.
clubs?
Yeah, yeah.
So very easy. We have an online registration,
Okay.
and we have people register all the time. If they have any trouble at all, they can call our front desk, and that's for any of our sites. And so it takes a while to do that process, but once they're in there, we have all of that emergency information that we need, as well as any information that will keep a child safe. So who can pick up their kids? Who cannot pick up their kids? Do they have an allergy? And we really work with them if they have an IEP at the school. We need to know that if there's some behavior issues. And we work really closely with all of the counselors at the school to make sure we're seeing the same kids. We want to do the best that we can for them. So that partnership with our school district has been just instrumental with the principals at each of our sites, with the counselors at each of our sites. That has been remarkable. And so we have a lot of referrals from counselors for kids to come to club so that they know these kids are in a safe place. They're going to get a snack, which could be the last meal that they receive during the day. And we can keep an eye, unfortunately, we have to make CPS calls on occasion, but we work so closely with the schools that if they have a concern, they will let us know. If we have a concern, we'll let them know so we can keep an eye on all of these kiddos. But we are thrilled whether it is an extended family member, a guardian that's a parent, a relative placement, foster care. We want all kids to have an opportunity to come here. And, we charge at our McGraw Clubhouse $15 a month for a child to come here. Teens are free. And then we have a contract with the school district to provide those after-school programs in the school-based locations. So I will have to put a plug in there for people to vote because our programs rely on a partnership with the school district.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? I mean, what you're doing is so important. What our schools are doing is so important. And lucky kids, I mean, again, if we can get them to a safe space where they're learning how to take care of themselves, physically, mentally, all those things. So yeah, thank you. I know it's not exactly where we had intended to go with today's meeting, but we'll get on to the rest of it. So I want to do this too. Because we're talking about how can the parents get their students in, get their kiddos in, and that was great information. But if we back up just a little bit, you talked about some of the partners that you have already. If an industry wants to be a partner, what do they have to do to come in and say, hey, we want to donate, hey, we want to participate? How can we do that?
Yeah, that's quite easy. I was actually at the Business Expo last night, so we made quite a few connections there with different businesses that were around. And, for example, Okanagan Specialty Fruit.
Yes.
They are giving out, little packages. And I go, oh my gosh, during the summertime, we give out free meals. And we would love for our club kids to come take a tour. And so just being able to have those connections in the community is fantastic. They can always reach out to us. And then we try to find every opportunity that we can to connect with someone. And so like last night, and I see Ron says that, he saw us there with everybody else was safari. We were blue, Girls Club blue. But we're always looking for those opportunities out there to try to find something for our kids. For example, over spring break, there's a lady that teaches line dancing here in town. and she's going to come to our McGraw Clubhouse, and we're open at North during spring break too. And she's going to teach line dancing to our club kids.
Right on. That's excellent.
So there are
Yeah.
things like that that happen, and it's like, would these kids get that opportunity anywhere else? And can we make
Yeah.
that happen? And only because of the community support are we able to do a lot of those things.
Well, I just want to say, when it comes to line dancing, like I'm no country music fan, although I love whatever, I love all kinds of music. But for them to learn line dancing, I have a family friend who decided she was going to travel the world a little bit after she graduated from college. And but financially, that's not everybody can just go travel the world. She went in thinking, oh, I'll teach some English and then I'll move around to different villages, different areas. She was in Southeast Asia. She went out to a bar one night. She started line dancing. They hired her to teach line dancing. That's how she traveled her way across Southeast Asia teaching line dancing. So how cool is that?
So we'll keep track of our little club
That's,
kids and see
that's
if
right.
they're world travelers later on. We're going to go,
Yep,
remember that you started
that's
right here.
right. Yep, you never know what kind of education is gonna, lead them to new places and new directions. So, well, excellent. All right. So we did actually come today with the idea that we're going to talk a little bit about program builders, because it's money that is being put out there by Career Connect Washington to help agencies build out their programs. So our story is a little bit different, right? We talked a little bit. You just found out recently that you didn't actually receive the program builder, but that's okay because they continue to offer them. So now we go back and we learn how do we tweak that. So what I was hoping that one of the two of you would do is tell us a little bit about the program that you're trying to get funded, and potentially maybe some partners that you might be looking for to jump in and help out with it.
Right, that's great. Well, even though we didn't receive the grant, that doesn't stop us from trying to move forward as much as possible and provide opportunities for our club kids. But I will kind of field this to Cecily to talk about, like, what are the things that we want to accomplish if we get that grant going forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a big focus has been like the teen center as far as workforce development goes. We do hope to continue grow that program even more this year. We are always looking for local partners where we can like take them on tours, which I know for a lot of industry, there can be a lot of red tape. But I mean, even just last year, we took some of them out to like the Big Bend robotics class and to Aerotech, and just the response from the teens, like, oh my gosh, like I go to Endeavor and I had no idea that any of this was happening in my backyard, right? Like just the more experiences we can continue to take them on, that's always needed. We're also always looking for like guest speakers to come in and talk to even some of our younger kids from local industry. So that's always our goal. We're always trying to, as Kim said, like make those community connections.
Yeah.
And we're gonna, yeah, I mean, hopefully we can keep pushing through. I think where we struggle a lot is just with staffing. This grant was gonna help us like be able to hire someone solely devoted to focusing on that.
Right.
And so it's just something we'll continue to run with the staffing capacities that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's important too to share that. I mean, this is right up Career Connected Learning's alley, right? I mean, the whole idea is to let our students know what careers are out here, what companies are offering those careers, and the skills that are necessary for that. So we're continually in communication for the exact same thing: tours, guest speaking, career panels, resume assistance, interview, practice, all those things. And we're really taking a deep focus into internships and job shadows and apprenticeship. So we're all doing the same thing. The workforce, I just held a meeting, the workforce is there. We have students graduating every single year that are hungry for these jobs. And I agree with you completely. The younger we start to introduce this to our students, the better it is for not only them, but for our community and for all the, the industry partners here. So this podcast is exactly about that as well. Let's introduce the Boys and Girls Club of the Columbia Basin to our community and to the industry partners and say, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, and this is what we need. So I think the fact that you didn't receive the program builder grant is really, it's not a negative in my book. It is, okay, how do we go back and really piece together what Career Connect Washington is looking for and the partners we're going to do that with. And hopefully this podcast can help bring some of those partners to the table. So I want to get back to all of you. However, we do have two live guests with us today, and I want to make sure that if anyone has a question, that we are giving them time to ask that question prior to the end of the podcast, because we are down to just a few minutes left. So if anybody who's with us live wants to ask a question, just either jump on in or you can put it in chat. And if not, that's okay too, because I can always fill space. So we got a thumbs up. They're all good. Okay.
I don't have any. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Thank you for being here. Okay. So Kim and Cecily, this is exactly what happens. It goes so much faster than what we want it to, because there's so much information to share. But is there anything in the last, just few minutes that we haven't covered that you want to share out?
Well, I think, one of the focuses that we were looking at with this program builder grant was different ag opportunities out there. And we've talked, it's like, yes, there can be somebody that grows up on a farm and works on a farm, but things have changed so much, and the focus of being sustainable and water conservation and producing more with less land and all of that. The infrared cameras that are being used to track how crops are being grown and where the levels of fertilizer and chemical needs to be. It is amazing. And we really want kids to realize how important our county is to produce all of that food for not just here, but for the world. And there could be just so many different opportunities. And we had talked about, like, if you want to be an attorney, you could be an attorney and work on your family farm. Do you want to be an accountant? Oh my gosh, they need you. Do you want to be a pilot? Holy cow, yes. And so we just want to open that up to everybody. Over spring break, our teens are going to WSU and doing a college tour. And they're going to Pacific Science Center on another day and doing a tour over there that has like an ag component. So again, we're not stopping what we're doing because we didn't get the grant. It will just look a little different until we can apply again and see what we can get.
Yeah. Well, Ron's adding in here that they're going to have their first ever CTE program at Endeavor Middle School in the fall with Case. That's called Ag Explorer. And I know we've reached out to Big Bend Community College. I know there are a ton of ag companies, my husband's family farms in the area. So I think a big thing too is to share this out and think about, we have Pape and we have Simplot and we have CHS and Lamb Weston. I mean, there are so many different opportunities, McGregor, and that's just, that's just touching the surface. So I think what a good option is we know we're going to send this out so that everybody can view it and learn a little bit more about the Columbia Basin Boys and Girls Club. So if there was a dream come true, how would these ag companies get in touch with you and say, hey, Kim, hey, Cecily, we want to be a part of that?
Well, they can certainly always send an email, kim@bngclub.org or cecily@bngclub.org. They can call our office. I think most people know my cell number, and they can certainly call me at any time. If they're going to do something for our kids, I will answer the phone no matter when it is. So, we really want to hear from people that are interested in helping, and we will find a spot for that, whether they come here and speak to our kids, whether we have our kids come on a tour, if they have information. I just want to expand the opportunities for our club kids that they may not have anywhere else. And really, like, piggyback on, like, now that we know, because we're at Endeavor, now that we know that there's this that's happening at Endeavor, we connect with the kids there and get them interested in something like that. So always trying to work together on things.
Good, good. Well, we have come to the end, so I want to make sure two things. One, I want to say thank you to both of you gals for participating. I know you're busy, but I also want to thank you for what you do. I mean, it really does matter, and everybody who is there doing the work and everybody who's coming in volunteering or donating, it does matter and it does make a difference. And one last plug before we call it is, I know from your website, there's also a little wish list page. So if you want to get involved, but maybe you don't have a lot of time, for that heavy of a lift, you can go and click a button and see what the wish list is for the Boys and Girls Club and potentially just make a donation that way. So, Kim and Cecily, thank you very much for being two of our MVPs, our most valuable partners. And I hope you continue to be extremely successful. And I look forward to working with you again. And, Kim, we got to talk about those hamburgers.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I think Brandon knows my son, so yeah, be on the lookout for Jared
All
on his
right.
motorcycle.
Excellent. Thanks, gals.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you so
Carrie.
much.
Appreciate your support.
Thanks.
Thank you.